We have now reached the midway point of the Major League Baseball season in 2024, and so today, per tradition, I'm going to be ranking every MLB team at mid-season. Very, very interesting breakup of how these teams are going to be ranked because there's so many teams, as many of you know, that are so close to the middle. Like and subscribe if you've not already. I truly would appreciate it. Make sure you guys are using code Sentry17 on SeatGeek to grab yourself $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Go see an MLB game, go see a concert, go see anything you want. NFL season's coming up. Code Sentry17, grab yourself $20 off. Go ahead, let's get into the video. Welcome back to the tier list. We got 6 now. It's a little bit different than last year for those of you who are just returning. Elite, great, and then we made this kind of, this kind of middle tier here. Good. We needed kind of a differentiator between great and mid because there's a big drop off. Great, good, mid. I went to we took out the M, and we got the sell. We need those teams to be selling. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom tier, and I'm going to work my way up. I've got them ranked a little bit here. Starting with the sell tier, I've got the Marlins, I've got the Rockies, I've got the Athletics, I've got the White Sox, and I'm going to put the Angels here. I think they're kind of on the border, but they're pretty close to being in this A tier. But 5 teams that, bar none, need to sell their pieces. The A's have guys like Tyler Anderson who are playing well that they probably should be selling. Taylor Ward is another guy just like that. White Sox have been the worst team in baseball. Sorry, 21-61. That is horrible. They're on pace to win about 40 games. Angels are 33-46, so a little bit better, but not much. The A's are 29-54. They've been scuffling like the last couple months. And then the Rockies and Marlins have kind of been the laughing stock of the NL in a league that's full of teams right around each other. They've been the two that have been way at the bottom. 28-52 and 27-53. The Marlins and Rockies respectively. Marlins already kind of started their selling process as well. They got rid of Arise. I'd assume a guy like Josh Bell, maybe a Brian De La Cruz. I don't know if they'll go as far as Jazz Chisholm. We'll see. I doubt it. One tier up, we go to the N. Now this one, probably the most difficult one to make in my opinion. I'm going to go through this one at a time. Blue Jays just can't really get themselves high. It looked like they were going to start climbing back towards maybe being relevant, but they're right back down to 36-43. Not much better than the Angels. They probably will be selling. Will they go and sell Bo? I don't know. Detroit, man, I wanted to put them into mid, but then I looked at their record and they're 37-43, right around the Blue Jays as well. I think if their roster is very average and they have a good pitching, but they just don't hit at all. I was actually at the game yesterday, series finale against the Phillies, and it just wasn't pretty. They don't have anybody in the bottom of their lineup that can hit. Akil Baddoo was hitting towards the middle of their lineup, just not going to work. Top of the lineup, I like it. Colt Keith, Riley Green, guys like that. Matt Vierling's having a really nice season. Trade Matt Vierling. The Cubs can't dig themselves out of the hole that they've dug as well. They have just had a putrid last month. Yeah, over the last month, they've been pretty putrid. They can't dig themselves out. I think that hitting's really been their problem as well, as guys are really not giving them many performances. Pitching's been okay. I mean, Shota has had a couple of bad starts in a row recently, but getting pretty decent performances from the pitching, and now that they're starting to lose a lot of games. So yeah, they're sitting, I believe, in dead last in their division. They are 37-44. However, a team that's only a half game above them, the Reds, it looked like they were going to be climbing out. They were 8-2 in their last 10, I believe, a week ago. Now they're right back down, 3-7 in their last 10. They're 10.5 games out. They're 37-43, so only a half game better than the Cubs. Another team where they have a case of not hitting right now. I just saw Hunter Green vomit on the mound. How about that? They've been hurt by injuries. Can't even blame them. But Elly De La Cruz has been having a pretty good year. I wouldn't say he's been great. Definitely fallen off a little bit. They're missing Matt McClain. They were missing Friedel, but like he came back. There's a lack of depth here. Noel V. Marte is coming back, I believe, now. So we'll see how that goes for them. Overall, they've been very disappointing, and I think that they deserve to be in this tier. Really strongly contemplating this one, but I think the Nationals are going to go into the ant tier, the very top of it. I kind of wanted to put them in mid because I kind of like them. They can kind of hit a little bit. They've got guys giving them performances as well. Winker fell back down to earth a little bit, but like that was kind of expected. Like it's just him. It's him and a bunch of young guys, you know what I mean? And Joey Gallo, who's somehow there. Rosario's been fine for them. K-Bear Ruiz, especially at the beginning of the year, he was so putrid for this team. He's hitting 200. This is a guy who's supposed to be like a contact first kind of guy. Not really happening for them right now. Trevor Williams was giving him a pretty good performance. I think he's fallen back down to earth just a little bit. Feels like they're going to trade him away. I don't know. They're close to 500. They're so close to every other team that it's like they might just like, I don't know, forget about everyone else and just buy and try to make a run at the playoffs. Who knows, dude? Let's go to the mid tier. Very, very difficult one to rank because there's so many teams that could be here potentially. I've got nine of the teams I've got in this one tier. We'll start with the most difficult one. It was the Houston Astros. They've been hot recently. They're right back to 500. They're 40-40 now. Jumped the Rangers, and they're catching up. They're only 4.5 out of their own division. We thought that they were kind of been counted out, but they've started to hit a little bit now. However, they've got pitching injuries in the rotation, so we'll see how that goes for them. But they've been hot. You got to give them that. Before that, I mean, they were down in this tier with the disappointing teams. The Pirates have a little bit of newer life. Skeens have been really good for them. They're 39-41. They're right around 500. They can make some moves at the deadline and go for it. They have a nasty rotation. Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, Paul Skeens. However, they kind of just don't hit. It's like, I feel like O'Neal Cruz should be better, like numbers-wise, but he just really isn't. StatCast king, but the raw numbers don't really love him because he's just a high strikeout guy. Cabrian was hurt a little bit, but he's just not that great of an offensive player. They don't really have a thumper. Brian Reynolds was heated up a little bit the last couple weeks, but he started out really poorly. They need someone who can hit for them. Padres, another difficult one. They're just a little above 500, and they've been a little bit hotter as well. However, you'll understand why they're down here in this tier compared to the good tier because, first of all, they've been so fluctuant. They've been so up and down. Felt like every time they get to this point, they'll go and they'll get swept. Like it happened last week with the Mets. Speaking of, they're going to go into this tier as well, into the mid. Another team that's been scorching hot. I really don't know how. I don't like the roster at all. JD Martinez starting to heat up for this team. Jeff McNeil, dude, I don't even know what happened to that guy. He's just not, he just hasn't hit the last 2 years. Lindor's been fine. I kind of always show my displeasure with him, and you know what I mean. I don't think he's as great as Mets fans think he is. He's good. He's a good shortstop, and he plays elite defense. I'll give him that. The Giants go here kind of similar to the Padres. I mean, the Giants are fourth in their division. They're 39-42, right behind the Diamondbacks. We'll group them together. Two pretty disappointing teams who over the last month have gotten themselves back towards 500. Again, super fluctuant. Giants offseason acquisitions have not been fantastic for them either. The Diamondbacks, theirs have really not, and they've been hurt. Montgomery just gave him his first good start of the year. Has Erod actually pitched for them this year? I think he has, but just not much. And Gallen, I think, is still on the IL, so they got pitching injuries, and they haven't been hitting much. The Cardinals have kind of been a little better. Yeah, since May 18th, best record in the NL, which doesn't make sense to me. They're 41-38 right now, so they must have been so down bad. But Goldschmidt and Arenado are still not hitting for them, and they found themselves right around 500. They can grab some pieces, and they'll probably be looking at a playoff spot. But right around 500 now, and they're kind of similar to these teams up and down. So two more, the Rangers, who I think I might be even being generous to giving them this ranking. They're 37-43. They're also up and down. It looked like they were going to be climbing back up. They get swept by the Mariners, and now they're 4-6 in their last 10. They're also moving down. They're starting to get their pitching pieces back, but pitching hasn't been their problem. They have not hit at all. Corey Seager has been very disappointing this year. Marcus Semien has heated up a little bit, but still been pretty disappointing. They've been injured. Josh Young's been hurt. Evan Carter is now hurt. Wyatt Langford was before that. So injuries also hurting this team, but it just feels like they should be way better. I did warn them before the year. I said, I'd imagine you're going to be right around 500 until the All-Star break, and then you got to go. Well, now you've got to go. It's not quite the All-Star break, but you got to get back to 500. The last one is the Rays. I believe they're a game below 500. Yeah, 40-41. They're almost 12 games out of their own division, though. They've been better in their last 10, 7-3, but they're in an AL East. It's also been better. A weird team. Yandy Diaz now finally starting to hit just a tiny bit, but Randy hasn't been great for them this year. Josh Lowe, who's been in the IL twice, just came back for them again. We'll see what they can do. I don't know if they'll make moves at the deadline. They might sell just because of where they are. I don't know if they have much of a shot at the playoffs, but I think that they deserve to be here. Let's move up to tier to the good. There's one controversial one here. You can blame me. First one I'm going to go with is the Red Sox. I think that they've kind of cemented themselves over these last couple weeks as probably deserving to be more toward this tier than mid. Their pitching's really good, and if they can get some more hitting healthy, then I think that they'll be better. 8-2 in their last 10, and they're 6 games above 500. You give them that. I didn't want to put the Twins here, but I think that they deserve to be now. They're 44-36. They're one game up of the Royals, who I knew deserved to be here. I think they'd be in great because they have cooled off a little bit, but still 44-38 for the Royals, 44-36 for the Twins. Twins just got Royce Lewis back, and they've been really good. I mean, you give them that. I didn't like their offseason, but they're kind of proving me wrong. They're staying right around the playoff race. However, not really even close to their division, as we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the one that's going to get me some heat, I think the Braves deserve to be at the top of this tier. I was going through it. I make it tier by tier, and I was going because I think it gives me a more accurate accurate representation. I think there's a drop off between the two teams I have in the great tier and Atlanta. Atlanta, I think, is slightly worse than the first team I'll talk about in the great tier in one aspect. They're kind of similar in one way, and then I think that a little worse in one part. Atlanta's been better, like they've been hitting just a little bit more, but still, you're 8 games back. You're not bad. You're 10 games above 500. You can't, nothing to argue with there. 44 and 34. But they just like haven't been hitting at all, and it feels like that they're losing series to pretty not great teams. Now, the one that's it's gonna be really tough. I put the Mariners in the great tier. Braves have been getting really good pitching. Reynaldo Lopez has been very good. Fried and Sale have been good. Morton, not so much. Mariners might have the best rotation in baseball. It's them or it's the Phillies. It's one of those two at this point. They also are not hitting. I think that they're not hitting to an even worse extent than the Braves, but relatively similar. I just thought that the Mariners pitching is just a little bit better, and that's why I put the Braves down one tier. Now, you could argue with me so easily that the Braves should be up here, and I probably wouldn't even say no. But for our sake, I'm going to put them down in good. Mariners up here in great. And then the other one, I got the Brewers here in great. I think that there's definitely a drop off between the 5 teams I have in the elite and the 2 that I have here in great. Brewers have been just fine. They've been really good. William Contreras has been their MVP, but he's actually cooled down in June. I just was listening to something today on OPS in the 5s in June. Rhys Hoskins has been good for them. Christian Yelich has been really good for them, and he started the year hurt too. Joey Ortiz, how about that? They got him back in the Corbin Burns trade. And Devin Williams is coming back, or he might already be back. But I like the Brewers. I don't think that they're as good as these elite teams. The elite 5, and I guess I could rank them if I really want to. No, I'm not going to, just to keep myself. The Guardians, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Dodgers. We'll start from the far right. The Dodgers are 51 and 31. They've gotten hot. They've got probably the MVP and maybe the Cy Young at this point. Glasnow's been pretty good. Ohtani, obviously, he's been the best hitter in the National League. Mookie Betts, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, both on the IL now. So it's going to hurt, but they're not slowing down. Still going to win 100 games, probably at least. The Orioles have kind of been like somehow the little brother of the Yankees, but they're a game out of the division. Like, what? Orioles are so good, dude. Gunnar Henderson has been phenomenal. 25 home runs, I believe, like not too far behind Judge on the Yankees. Orioles are nasty, and they're all a bunch of young little guys who just know how to play baseball so well. Yankees are 52 and 30. They're a game above that. Scuffling a little bit, that's for sure. They're 2 and 8 in their last 10. Orioles are not really taking much advantage of that stretch out of the Yankees, and the Yankees' holes in their team have definitely started to open up a little bit. However, they've still been one of, if not the best team in baseball the whole year, so they go into the elite tier. The Phillies, I believe, right now hold the best record in baseball. Let me just double check my facts there. Yeah, 663 winning percentage is good for the best in baseball. Bryce Harper also playing like an MVP. Trey Turner finally came back, and he's been hitting pretty well. I think he's still hitting in the 330s. JT Realmuto being out definitely stinks for this team. He had a meniscectomy. I think that's the word. How about that? Word of the day, meniscectomy. Let me look up the definition of that one. The meniscectomy is the surgical removal of all or part of the torn meniscus. Does not sound very good, although they expect him to be back by around the All-Star break. This team's rotation is just absolutely ridiculous. Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, and then we get to Aaron Nola. However, fifth starter might be a problem. Spencer Turnbull left his start. They phantom IL Taijuan Walker, and then Turnbull actually got hurt yesterday, so we'll see what they do about that. Maybe a Michael Mercado, something like that. Then we get to the Guardians, who they did have the best. It looks like they do. They have the best record in the AL right now, 51 and 27. I said earlier in this year in another video, I thought that they were getting extremely lucky, and I didn't think they'd be able to sustain anything that they were doing because their runners and scoring position numbers were ridiculous. Steven Kwan has been just absolutely filthy for this team, and he's starting to hit home runs too. Your MVP, obviously, J-Ram. Josh Naylor is playing out of his mind. Guys like Fry are also playing so well for this team. It's all coming together, and they're getting pitching rotational performances as well. There's a Fangraphs article written about one of them, I think, today. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the tiers here today. This is every MLB team ranked at the mid-season mark. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.